There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So people get ready for the train to join, picking up passengers coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors of boredom. There's hope for all among those who love the most. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. Believe me now, have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, for there's no hiding place against the kingdom's throne. You know there's no hiding place, there's no hiding place. So people get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. People get ready, people get ready now.
If you disrespect everybody that you're running into, how in the world do you think everybody's supposed to respect you? If you don't give a heck about the man with the Bible in his hand, just get out the way and let the gentleman do his thing. You the kind of gentleman that's for everything your way. Yeah. Take the sheet off your face, boy. It's a brand new day. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. If you don't respect yourself, ain't nobody gonna give a good do. Brother. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. If you're walking around thinking that the world owes you something 'cause you're here, you going out the world backwards like you did when you first come here. Keep talking about the president won't stop air pollution. Put your hand over your mouth when you cough, that'll help the solution. Oh, you curse around women who don't even know their name. No. Then you're dumb enough to think they'll make you a big old man. Yeah, back yourself. Yeah. strong ain't gonna be here long. I don't care if you're rich, never had a dime. This whole life is an uphill climb, and I ain't got time, ain't got time, ain't got time for hate. One more moment is a moment too late. We ain't got time for hate. People lost and lonely, looking for a home. Call us names that still hurt us a lot more than stones. It's the law of the jungle. It's the law of the land. We hold each other's hearts in the palm of our hands, and we ain't got time. We ain't got time. We ain't got time for hate. One more moment is a moment too late. We ain't got time for hate. Black and white, brown or tan, every woman, child and man, rich or poor, gay and straight. We ain't got time for hate.
Who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh. Of tender years, can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh.
You're down and troubled, and you need some love and care, and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name winter, spring, summer, or fall. All you have to do is call, and I'll be there. You've got a friend. If the sky above you grows dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind begins to blow, keep your head together and call my name out loud. Soon you'll hear me knocking at your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, running, yeah, yeah, to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. Now ain't it good to know that you've got a friend when people can be so cold? They'll hurt you, yes, and desert you, and take your soul if you let them. Oh, but don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, running, yeah, yeah, to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. Ain't it good to know you've got a friend? Ain't it good to know? Ain't it good to know? Ain't it good to know? You've got a friend. Oh yeah, now you've got a friend. Yeah, baby, you've got a friend. Oh yeah, you've got a friend.
Each day through my window, I watch her as she passes by. I say to myself, you're such a lucky guy to have a girl like her. Is truly a dream come true. Out of all the fellas in the world, she belongs to you. But it was just my imagination running away. Soon we'll be married and raise a family. A cozy little home out in the country with 2 children, maybe 3. I tell you, I can visualize it all. This couldn't be a dream, or too real it all seems. But it was just my imagination once again running away with me. Tell you it was just my imagination running away with me.
Every night on my knees I pray, dear Lord,
Hear my plea. Don't ever let another take her love from me, or I will surely die. Heavenly, when her arms enfold me, I hear a tender rhapsody. But in reality, she doesn't even know me. Just my imagination once again running away with me. Oh, tell you it was just my imagination running away with me. I never knew, but I can't forget her. Just my imagination. Yeah, running away with me. Just my imagination.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, a lovely day, yeah, lovely day, lovely day, a lovely day, lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. Seems impossible to face when some Ooh, ooh, ooh. Accept responsibility. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't forget humility. Ooh, ooh, ooh. At every opportunity. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Be the best that you can be. Pops used to say all kinds of things to us. He always made his point. He never had to cuss. He taught us how to sing, taught us how to live. He gave us all his love and everything he had to give. He had to give. You're never too young, you're never too old. It's never too
right here, right now. I said, we're here, we're singing, glory, glory, hallelujah. Wow, wow, hallelujah. Wow. Come on, 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 everybody. Hey, me too, come on, come on, come on, put your hands now, let us put your hands down, let us pray, come on, put your hands down, come on, put your hands
You know, sometimes we're not prepared for adversity. When it happens, sometimes we're caught short. We don't know exactly how to handle it when it comes up. Sometimes we don't know just what to do when adversity takes over. And I have advice for all of us. I got it from our pianist, Joe Zavidu, who wrote this tune. And it sounds like what you're supposed to say when you have that kind of problem. It's called mercy, mercy, mercy. Mercy, 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 mercy. Thank you.
Young, gifted, and black.
Oh, what a lovely, precious dream.
To be young, gifted, and black.
Open your heart to what I mean. In the whole world, you know, there's a million boys and girls who are young,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. I know you're still enjoying a delicious-looking meal, but we're going to go ahead and start the program in the interests of good flow. Welcome to the 8th annual Bloomington Rotary Toast. I'm Sylvia McNair, and I'm thrilled to be standing here tonight addressing all of you. Thank you both. As we begin the program, I'd like to extend a special thanks and a heartfelt welcome to Premier Healthcare Foundation. Personally, I'm particularly grateful to them because they saved my life. They've been a platinum sponsor every year of the Bloomington Rotary Toast, and they are joined as a platinum sponsor this year by the Cook Corporation. Go Cook! Their generosity and commitment to the community not only give us the opportunity to gather together tonight to honor Gladys DeVane, but they also show support for many charitable organizations in our community. We appreciate the support of all of our sponsors. They make it possible for Rotary to do the good work in our town that you have all come to expect. Service above self. Please take a moment sometime this evening to look at your program and to acknowledge our sponsors by doing business with them in the future. In other words, buy their stuff. I also want to give a shout out of gratitude to WFIU and particularly Brother William, who did a custom designed playlist for our honoree. Brother William's custom-designed playlist will be posted on the Bloomington Rotary Club Facebook page later tonight if you're interested in having that for yourself. It's now my privilege to introduce our honoree and tell you a bit more about the organization she has selected to benefit from this evening's proceeds. This year, we honor Dr. Gladys DeVane. Gladys is a wife, a mother, an educator, a community activist, an actor, a storyteller, and a writer. She retired from Indiana University in 2003 after 38 years of teaching and also doing administrative responsibilities in both the Department of Speech and Hearing Sciences and the Kelley School of Business. We'll get to know more about Gladys as the evening progresses. I would now like to invite to the stage for the remainder of this program our 2022 honoree, Dr. Gladys DeVane. Please join me up here. Stage right or stage left, it's your choice, goddess. And she does look like a goddess tonight. Gladys has selected LIFEDesigns to receive proceeds from this evening's toast. You might notice many members from LIFEDesigns here this evening. LIFEDesigns was originally established way back in 1981 as Better Living for Special People, when Gladys and Jean DeVane, among several other families, wanted to meet the residential and long-term care needs of people with disabilities. All of the families felt that smaller, more personal homes would provide a better quality of life for people with disabilities and enable them to contribute as self-directed and empowered community members. The organization has morphed over time into what is now called LIFEDesigns, an organization which recognizes the life-changing power of working in partnership with people with disabilities so that all of us can participate as active citizens in our community. I want to take a brief moment to talk about some of the other organizations that have benefited in prior years from the Rotary Toast. In addition to Gladys's chosen organization, proceeds in past years have benefited local 501c3 organizations supported by 3 Bloomington Rotary clubs. More than $275,000 has been distributed to worthy organizations in our community, including Girls Inc., Amethyst House, CASA, Teachers Warehouse, Cardinal Stage for Kids, now known as Constellation Stage and Screen, Middle Way House, WHFB Community Radio, PALS, Fairview Elementary School, Wonder Lab, and the Area 10 Agency on Aging. Now it's time for me to introduce our first toaster of the evening. Like Gladys, Rita Naramore is a former speech and hearing professor at Indiana University. Her relationship with Gladys is both as a friend and a coworker, and she'll shed some light on Gladys's professional accomplishments. Dr. Rita Naramore.
When Gladys was born, there were 2 fairy godmothers in the room, just kind of hanging out to see what was coming along. And the first fairy godmother looked at that baby and she said, "This is gonna be one bossy little girl." And the second fairy godmother said, "Teacher." I know that the second fairy godmother was right, because ever since I met Gladys, I've known this woman was a born teacher. And I'm going to tell you 2 stories that will illustrate why I think that is. Gladys's role in the Department of Speech and Hearing Sciences was as a clinical supervisor, which means that she, as a certified professional speech-language pathologist, was the cheerleader and the coach and the instructor for all the graduate students who were preparing themselves to go out and do therapy with children or adults with speech and language disorders. As a supervisor, Gladys had access to a corridor of one-way mirrors looking into therapy rooms where her students were practicing. And one day, I was walking down the hall, and I heard Gladys's voice coming out of the observation room. She was saying, "That is not going to work. That is never going to work." So I stopped and I went in to see what she was talking about. And I saw in the therapy room that Gladys was looking at, one of her students was standing there, frozen. The little boy who had come in to get therapy that day had decided that he wanted none of it. He had turned the table on its side and pushed it into the corner. He turned the chairs over and pushed them into the corner, and then he climbed in behind them and refused to make eye contact with anybody. He was having none of this. So Gladys went into the room and she said to the student, "You go in the observation room and take notes on what this child does." And Gladys looked at the little barricade that the child had set up. She turned her back She went as far away from the child as she could get. She sat down on the floor, facing the wall, and started talking about her dog. And I'm standing there saying, okay. And about that time, my secretary came along and said to me, you need to come because you have a phone call. So I left the room, and the secretary kind of looked, and when we got out in the hall, she said to me, could you tell me something? I said, I will. She said, why was Mrs. DeVane sitting on the floor talking to the wall? I said, what you just saw was Gladys putting into action her first principle of what it means to be a good teacher. You start where the student is. And if you're doing therapy with a child, you start where the child is. And if that means you have to sit on the floor and talk with the wall, then that's what you do. So she was doing that. That was story number one. Story number two, I'm sitting in my office one day, and Gladys came in and sat down, and she said, I've decided to apply to the PhD program. I opened my bottom desk drawer and took out the smelling salts, and I said, are you sure? She said, yes. I said, okay, talk to me. Tell me why you want to do this. And she said, well, since I started practicing in this field, our theories about how children learn language and our observations of the stages they go through have changed totally. And she said, I can't be the kind of teacher I want to be if I don't understand more about what children are doing when they actually learn language. And she said, I need to get a PhD to catch up with the field. And I thought, that's a very good, rational answer, good for you. And I said, do you know what you have to do to get a PhD? She said, oh, yes, I know. I looked at all the requirements, and I have to take all these courses and this and this. And she said, and then I have to write a dissertation. And I said, uh-huh. For those of you who don't know, the dissertation is the crown of an academic career. You do an original piece of research, and you write it up, and you submit it to a faculty committee for their approval. And I said to Gladys, I want you to understand something. A lot of people who start a PhD program never finish. And 90% of those people who never finish because they can't get that dissertation requirement done. And she leaned back in her chair and she looked at me and she said, you know that if I start it, I will finish it. And I said, oh yes, I know that. Good, good, go for it. And as she left the room, I thought, this woman has a house full of kids. She has brothers and cousins and nephews and all kinds of people going in and out. She's working full time, and she's going to finish a PhD. And I thought, yeah, okay, she probably will. And sure enough, in the year or two that followed, the children got sent to school. There were 3 meals a day on the table, although I have been told that one of her children still believes that peanut butter cookies are a good source of protein. However, the day came when Gladys finished her dissertation and it was accepted, and she went through graduation and got that beautiful red leather-covered diploma, putting the PhD after her name. And so from that time forward, she was Dr. DeVane, who could sit on the floor and talk to the wall if she wanted to. So I want you to join me in a toast to this extraordinary teacher, Dr. Gladys DeVane, PhD, EE. And the EE stands for Educator Extraordinaire.
Thank you, Dr. Naramore. Our second toaster of the evening is known well to many in the audience. She spoke last year on behalf of Charlotte Zitlow and comes tonight to honor Gladys. Marilyn Schultz is a former state representative and a small business owner. Please welcome Representative Marilyn Schultz.
You know, I got the call in the early 70s. You know, probably many of you in the room, it's the call from Gladys. A lot of you've gotten that call. I think we all have. The first one from Gladys involved funding the summer program for youth with speech and hearing issues. University funding had disappeared, and Gladys was out to raise money for kids and for services. Later that fall, she called to invite me for dinner at her house with Jean, of course, and Ross Jennings and Rita. All I can remember is we had a great time, lots of good food, wine, and peanut butter cookies, of course. All the while being entertained by Gino, who had just learned to crawl. I know, that's a long time ago. So over the years, we became really good friends. I marveled at her energy. She was trying to organize 3 boys, various family members, Jean, who traveled for work. She's a great cook, had wonderful parties, had a full-time job, was working on a doctoral program. And it took me a while, but I began to understand why she was always late. Competing with all of this was the drive for services that didn't exist for her firstborn. Our history of providing services with those with special needs has a long trajectory, from state hospitals to community services, including education, residential opportunities, and jobs. Some have been good and some have been bad, but there've never been enough of them. And it's never been easy. Each positive change was a result of thousands of calls from Gladys and from thousands of other parents, driving community leaders and elected officials to give priority to funding. Equally challenging was inspiring all of us in our communities to give the grace of acceptance for people with disabilities. Parents became increasingly sophisticated in raising money and raising hell. But the bottom line was that there was too much need for too few services. And as the state closed its large facilities, there was fierce competition for local services. In the mid-'80s, the state encouraged communities to create residential spaces, promising that funding for placement of local clients would follow. And that was the whistle, wasn't it, Gladys, that started the race to create LIFEDesigns that Gladys helped found. In Bloomington, Better Living for Special People came into being, or almost. At the last minute, the State Department decided that those places had to go to clients from the institutions. Placement for local relatives were going to be delayed. Well, I got another call from Gladys, and it was a long one. You can only imagine. I had just left the legislature where I had worked closely with the state director, and so I immediately called him and gave him an idea of what he was up against with Gladys. And he found eventually a way to keep his promise. And so because of Gladys and many of you, Better Living for Special People opened and residential services became a fact. And the world changed just a little for people with disabilities and their families. Gladys and Jean and so many others have lived their lives doing ordinary things just like the rest of us. But also they have been driven every single day with the need to find just a bit more energy and spirit and savvy to communicate, organize, and envision ways to safeguard their special child. I recently read a biography of Charles de Gaulle, and I'm not going to compare Gladys to Charles de Gaulle, but in this one instance, his daughter Anne was born with a developmental disability. And the de Gaulle family, and this was in the early 30s, ignored state policy for committing her to a large institution. And when asked at the end of his extraordinary life, he was asked how he had managed to accomplish so much, and he said this: "Without Anne, maybe I would have never done what I did. She gave me the heart and the inspiration." The heart and the inspiration. Community services and the acceptance of special individuals into our society happened because of the heart and inspiration of Gladys and Jean and so many others. For them, it was life's calling. For us, it was the call. And Gladys, I hope we answered. So I'd like, and I forgot my glass, but I hope that you can give a toast to Gladys for giving us the heart and inspiration to change the world. Thanks, Gladys. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to welcome Rotary District Governor Lance Eberly to the podium for the presentation of a very special honor. District Governor Eberly.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. As mentioned, my name is Lance Eberly. I currently have the privilege to serve as District Governor for District 6580, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to be here with you this evening. Gladys, in appreciation of the many ways in which you exemplify Rotary's motto of service above self, and on behalf of the 169 women and men of the 3 Bloomington Rotary Clubs celebrating more than 100 years of Rotary in our city, the 3 Bloomington Rotary Clubs are proud to award you with a Paul Harris Fellowship. For those of you who are not aware, the Paul Harris Fellowship is awarded for a substantial financial contribution to the Rotary Foundation. The award is named for Paul Harris, the founder of Rotary more than 116 years ago in Evanston, Illinois. As you heard earlier, the organization has grown to 1.2 million members in 35,000 clubs and in more than 200 countries worldwide. In addition to the 1 million Rotarians throughout the world, and to the Paul Harris Fellows now standing in this room, so for those of you who are have a Paul Harris Fellowship, please stand. Gladys, as a Paul Harris Fellow, you now stand with the people that we had in this room, as well as such notables as Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Prince Charles, now King Charles, Indira Gandhi, Pope John Paul II, President Jimmy Carter, astronaut James Lovell, Dr. Jonas Sill, Dr. Larry Rink, Mr. Ron Remack, Mr. and Mrs. Steve and Connie Ferguson, Mr. Kerry Curry, Ms. Charlotte Zitlow, and Mr. Bob Hanimal as Paul Harris Fellows. Again, congratulations. On behalf of the trustees of the Rotary Foundation, it is my pleasure to present you with this pin and certificate as a Paul Harris Fellow. We urge you to wear your Rotary Paul Harris Fellow pin as a symbol of our appreciation for you and for your humanitarian efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating and recognizing our newest Paul Harris Fellow for one more round of applause for Gladys DeVane.
Gladys, I have a feeling we're going to lose count of your standing ovations tonight. But this is good. It's great. We now have a very special musical gift from an Indianapolis singer-songwriter who has performed in Bloomington productions in conjunction with the newest theater cooperative, Constellation. Please welcome Ashley Baskin.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry, I had a little setup here. Before I get started, I do want to just say a couple things. Again, my name is Ashley Baskin, and I am from Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes, thank you. I'm in Bloomington, so I'm not going to tell you guys what college I attended because I want to make it out of Bloomington, back home. But when I was approached to help put something together on behalf of Constellation Stage and Screen, I was completely humbled. I was sent an article that detailed your work and some of your life, and then purchased Come Sit With Me, and took some inspiration from there. So what I did was just, as a result of just some of the research that I did and studying your work, wrote a song. And so I am hoping that you hear your work reflected. I'm hoping that it is familiar to you all, those of you that know Dr. DeVane. And so this song is not ironically, but ironically titled, Come Sit With Me. Life has blessings and lessons and reasons, like the changing of the seasons. Life brings meaning to everyone who seeks it. So never give up, never give in. Keep up the faith, you're gonna win. A life well lived with so much more to give. Come sit with me, won't you come sit with me? Come and take a sip from the wellspring of my soul. From my loving cup is beauty to behold. Inspirations all around us. There's beauty to be found. There's more in store for those who want to know it. It's a time for love, time to grow, time to keep on holding hope that each day that we are gifted is another time to share it. Life is blessings and lessons and reasons, like the changing of the seasons. Life brings purpose to everyone who's worth it. So never give up, never give in. Keep up the faith, you're gonna win. I found my voice by lending mine to those whose stories are untold, whose glory is unknown. We're talking about homegrown, unsung heroes, lifted up out from history's shadows. 'Cause inspiration's all around us, just waiting to be found. There is more in store for those who want to know it. There's a time to laugh, time to cry, then rise up and shine. Each day that we are gifted finds us favored to have lived it. Life brings blessings and lessons and reasons, just like the changing of the seasons. Life brings purpose to everyone that's worth it. So never give up, never give in. Keep up the faith, you're gonna win. Life has blessings and lessons and reasons, just like the changing of the seasons. Life brings meaning to everyone who seeks it. So never give up, never give in. Never give up, you're gonna win. It's heartbreak and heartache, lonely nights, heavy hearts, learning from our mistakes, taking the good times with the bad days. This life can try to break you. Stand firm, don't let it take you. No matter what befalls today, tomorrow's already on the way. Be gentle, be kind, find the light and do what's right. Enjoy the present, in the present, in the presence of those you cherish. Compassion and empathy, especially for the least of these. No matter what befalls today, tomorrow's already on the way. Life has blessings and lessons and reasons, just like the dawning of new seasons. Life brings meaning to everyone who seeks it. So never give up, never give in. Keep up the faith, you're gonna win. Through heartbreak and heartache and lonely nights and heavy hearts, we're learning from our mistakes, taking the good times with bad days. When life gives you lemons, fight back, right back in the sour. Bite back, speaking truth to power. Fight that, no time to cower. Take that. Life's blessings and lessons and reasons, like the dawning of new seasons. Life brings meaning for everyone who seeks it. Never give up, never give in. Keep up the faith, you're gonna win. 'Cause life is blessings, lessons, and reasons, just like the dawning of the seasons. Strength, poise, and resolve, and inspiration to us all. Thanks for everything you've done, Dr. DeVane. Your work is not in vain. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Ashley Baskin, thank you so much. Life does indeed have lessons and blessings. Our third toaster of the evening is the director of Resilience Productions. Please welcome to the stage Danielle Bruce.
Okay. I first met Gladys in 2010 while I was directing her goddaughter, Brashawn Joyner's one-woman show, Once More with Fire. I truly believe it was due to Gladys's unyielding words of wisdom at the final dress rehearsal that kept that show from becoming Exhibit A in a court of law. I remember telling my sister how impressed I was with Gladys. I said, it's just something about her presence and her vocal quality. And my sister, who needed no convincing, looked at me and said, Gladys DeVane? Yeah. I'd buy a ticket to listen to her read the phone book. I thought, okay. Then about 2 weeks later, I received a voicemail from none other than Gladys DeVane, asking me if I'd be willing to work with her on dialects and if I did any coaching with actors. Well, it never dawned on me to mention to her that I had never done either, and I was just so excited about the opportunity to meet her that I just said, absolutely, let's meet. Truthfully, I don't think we even discussed dialects at the first meeting. But I do recall, however, Gladys sharing a story she had written and was slated to perform at Krista Detour's upcoming holiday show. It was a story about a grandmother fighting her way through the chaos of holiday shoppers on Christmas Eve to purchase the last black baby doll for her granddaughter. I told her I loved the piece and asked, what did she need help with? And I thought this was the point when she'd say, well, the grandmother has an accent, but no. As it turned out, Gladys felt the piece was a bit stagnant and wanted to incorporate some dynamic blocking. She then proceeded to tell me what she had in mind. And then there was talk of somersaults, and Gladys coming in and sliding across the table. And if I'm not mistaken, there was something said about a roundhouse kick. I just, as she continued, I thought to myself, who is this woman? And where am I going to find a stunt double? If there's one thing that I did learn at that first meeting with Gladys, it was this. If Gladys wants to do something or learn to do something, she will. And you have two choices. You can either sign on or get out of the way. Well, I'm proud to say that since then, Gladys and I have collaborated on the creation of 2 original plays, countless monologues, 3 performances at a maximum security prison, 1 political campaign, formed a production company, and published a book. And for those of you keeping track, 0 hours of dialect training. For those of us who have become acquainted with Gladys in the last 2 decades, we know her primarily as a storyteller, actor, and writer. And in that time, she has acquired the most loyal and enthusiastic following. I mean, how many people do you know that actually get an entire Sunday service dedicated to their work? And with good reason. Gladys is a brilliant writer, a compelling actor, and a gifted storyteller. She understands the significance of stories and the need human beings have to share them. In this day and age, we as communities do not have resident storytellers, not any longer. But from what I've witnessed, if Bloomington had one, it would be Gladys DeVane. In the venerated tradition of the West African griots, someone whose voice and perspective is respected and revered, she brings an integrity to the subject she's writing about and a dignity to the performance. You continue to inspire us with your insight and energy, disarm us with your candor, and set the standard with your humility and work ethic. Congratulations, Gladys, and if you all will raise a glass. You give us all so much every time you create a character, take the stage, or simply share a story. I'm honored to have the privilege of working with you in the theater. You've been both mentor and muse. I am very grateful for the trust and belief you've had in me. You've changed my life. Congratulations, Gladys.
Thank you, Danielle. Our final toaster of the evening is Gladys's brother.
May I leave?
That's probably a good idea, girlfriend, because I don't have any brothers, but we're all looking forward to some inside family dishing here. He has come all the way from Oklahoma to celebrate his sister and to share some family. Well, it says stories here, but I hope there are some secrets. Please welcome Leonardo, better known as Butch Neese, to the podium.
goodness. I really don't know where to start. First of all, the over-under on the waterworks for me is about 2.5 minutes within the family. Thus, my fancy pocket square. You all have one on your tables, by the way. I need to start with a program correction. Yesterday, I started getting these text messages and emails saying, there's a comedian from Oklahoma. It's you. And I said, what? And so I looked at Gladys and said, Gladys, what the hell is this? She says, well, I told her I want my brother to speak. I said, he's a good speaker and he's very funny. And he wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I said, I also wanted to be a cop and a cowboy, but you didn't put this in there. It's like, what the? Anyway, by the way, by trade, I was a banker. Thank you so much. By trade, I was a banker. When's the last time your banker made you laugh? When my sister asked me about this, I thought she said roast. So I started working on some of my best material, and I'm like, okay. We all know she's a trailblazer. She has no problem breaking down stereotypes. Who can forget her Dancing with the Stars endeavor? She, in one evening, broke through that stereotype that all black folks have rhythm. But truly, this is a daunting task. I mean, you've heard about her impact on the community and all the things she's done, and those things I can't talk about because I would have the pocket square out. So, but I thought, how about I write a poem? I mean, she's a writer. She's got the literary. I said, let me show them my poetic chops. My wife said, baby, so your poetic chops are somewhere between Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and There Once Was a Man from Nantucket. So. but really, I mean, I want to get serious for a minute. If our family was a crime scene, her DNA would be all over it. It would be, okay. I needed that. She spent her early years at our family farm. Now, this family farm was not Little House on the Prairie. It was more like a step above sharecropping, to be honest with you. But she stayed with our grandfather that we lovingly call Papa, our grandmother that we call Big Mama, as well as other sisters and cousins that came through from time to time. Let me get this straight. Our Big Mama was not Martin Lawrence in a dress, okay? At an early age, on the family farm, Gladys was diagnosed as being slow. And this was not by a doctor. This was by her family. You could say, well, it's just cruel sisters and cousins being mean-spirited little kids. But our mama felt the same way. Our mom had Alzheimer's, and in her later days, we would do mental kind of exercises to see if she could remember her kids. And we would say, okay, tell us about your kids. And she says, well, Butch was the youngest. He was my baby boy. Verdell was the oldest. Carol was the smart one. You had to keep on top of her at all times because she was very smart. I said, Gladys, she's the slow one. You can't make this up. I'm serious. Okay, so because she was the slow one doing chores on the family farm, she got to stay in and be under Big Mama. And so there she learned. She learned the importance of nurturing the family, She learned the importance of having faith in God and living that faith. But above all, she learned, do your best and you can do anything. And boy, did she take it to heart. For a girl that was supposedly born on the wrong side of tracks, whose parents never got past 8th grade. And she went to schools that just didn't get her quite ready for college. But she did her best and overcame all of that. So here we are. $1,000 a table. And they sold out. I mean, I don't know if that says something about you or Bloomington. She had a difficult first year in college. But imagine the wait. She was the first person in our family to attend college. And during that rough freshman year, she could have been the first person in our family asked to leave. But she got through it. Even during that, she came home and said, Mom, Butch needs to be in a different school. The schools we're taking are not getting us ready for college. And so my parents, a plumber and a beautician, already putting one kid through college, put me in private school. It worked out for me. Okay. But she righted her ship, graduated, eventually landed on the dean's list, accepted Indiana grad school, got her master's degree and her PhD. But keep in mind, this was not her passion. Her passion was the theater. But her attending college and graduating is what our family needed. We needed the first person to go to college and succeed. And she did. And because of that, a long line of people attended college, finished, didn't finish, whatever else, but it made our lives better because she was the role model for our family. So she put her theater on pause for 30 years. Raised 3 boys, magnificent young men, with the help of their father, Gene. That's not an afterthought. She also caused what we call the Great Migration from Oklahoma City, Beaumont, Texas, Red Springs, North Carolina, family members coming in to her house to get that nurturing. Let me give you an example. In 1964, Keno, Landy, and I went to the World's Fair in New York City. How many kids can say that? Because part of what she was doing is exposing us to life that was different than what we saw and different than what we were growing up in. Lots of kids coming through your house, cousins, nieces, nephews. Sounds a hell of a lot like Big Mama. I am happy you spent the first 30 years on the family, but I'm also glad you got to spend the next 20 years working on your dream and your passion. Gene, I hope I get this right. Behind every great woman, there's a great man. Well done, Gene. Well done. Sis, I can't do justice to what you've done to this family, the impact you've had. 5 minutes, I could talk 5 weeks. But what I will do is ask everyone to raise a glass and toast our family's big mama. I love you, sir. I love you.
It is a toast tradition for the prior year's honoree to offer the final words of welcome and praise to this year's guest of honor. This year, Charlotte Zitlow has a few words to say about her dear friend, Gladys. She's joining us on stage now to offer the community toast. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Charlotte Zitlow.
Did she say just a few words? I don't know if I can do that because there was too much to say. I want to say I've known Gladys and Jean, and I have to admit that I think that I cannot talk about Gladys without talking about Jean. I hope you'll forgive me.
Oh, you can talk about him a little bit.
Because he's an integral part of your spirit and your success.
And the truth of the matter is I could not have done it without him.
You could not have done it without him. I was going to say that. So I'll bring Jean in occasionally.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I come from the northern states. I come from Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan. And I come from the north. So when I got to Indiana, I was suddenly in the south. I had no idea. This was a big surprise to me and not a happy one. So we tried to learn to know the community, and there were fewer enough black people here. And we thought, and then there were strange things that happened, as I said, surprises. Don't go there. Don't go there if you're going to bring your best friend, black friend from Michigan. Don't go to the Sunrise Tavern. No, you don't, because you walk in the door and there's utter silence, and then you walk out again. So we learned a little bit about southern Indiana. But I'll tell you, eventually, we learned to know a number of people in the community, but it was a while until we met you because we came in '64 and you came later. But suddenly there were Jean and Gladys in the community, and you were everywhere, it seemed. I think Marilyn introduced us initially when you were working on the house in Grandview.
Right.
And trying to appease the neighborhood to accept something that was so obviously a good idea, which was a place where your son could be in a home with other people. And you did that with such skill and grace. That was really important. And that's how I learned to know you. Boy, these people are wonderful. They could live in Minnesota. So anyway, as I said, I gradually learned to know you well through Marilyn, through Rita, through other people. But we had good times together.
Yes.
We became friends.
Yes.
And I learned to know, Gene was interested in flying. I mean, he not interested in flying, he flew. And flew all over with Bill Cook's group. But he had to deal with the airport. The airport needed a lot of help. And in fact, the day that we found out that the airport manager had stolen half of the materials, I thought, we need somebody better on that commission. Somebody's going to be a little more observant. But meanwhile, so I appointed him to the airport commission. And I think that was a good thing to do, because Gene, I do think so. I hope you do too. Because one of the things about Gene, I can't believe he does this, but he decided to absorb some of the Southern Indiana culture by checking out the Crescent Donut Shop. That was a noble and courageous thing to do, and I think Gladys made it possible. She must have empowered him to do that sort of thing. But as I learned to know Gladys, first of all, here she was teaching in speech and hearing and helping people learn there. And I didn't know what her role was, but I knew that it was important because everybody talked about Gladys in speech and hearing. And suddenly she wasn't there anymore. She was getting her doctor's degree and going to the business school and getting a professorship in the business school. I mean, who did that? So Gladys is fantastic. You never know where she's going to show up in a wonderful, successful way. So she is somebody we really, really deserve to cheer and honor today. I'm so glad to be able to be part of it. Because Gladys doesn't only go to speech and hearing and then she pops up over in the business school, and then suddenly she's writing plays and writing books and on the stage, and we know her, performing in Brown County, which is about far enough from the north as you can get. So Gladys, I'm very, very, very honored and happy to be part of this ceremony for you today, because you have brought us a lot of insight into the life we should understand. And I hate the word woke, but you were our way to wake us up in ways that were totally acceptable and that we appreciate. But that's not all. You're just a fine person and you're lots of fun. We went to Chicago together, went to operas.
Yes.
Yes, and we didn't get lost. It was a good thing.
It's been wonderful knowing you.
It's been wonderful. This has been a treat. Thank you, Jean, too. You too. I don't mean to be Jean, but I really think that the entire community is very lucky to have had you with us all these years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'm afraid it's just water. I'm afraid it's just water, but
it's just water. Thank you, Charlotte.
Sylvia, do I have to say more things?
Thank you, Charlotte. Do I come here? Well, folks, it doesn't get any better than this. Thank Thank you so very much. You don't know how much it pleases me that you cared enough to take your time to come and celebrate with me this afternoon, this evening. Thank you so very much. This has been a night to remember. It can't get any better than this. Thanks to all of you for making me feel loved and appreciated. I am indeed humbled by your presence. To you, Rita, who came all the way from Pennsylvania, and Marilyn, who normally would be in France or Italy or somewhere across the ocean, but she took time to come tonight to be here with me, and I appreciate it. And thanks to you, Danielle, who breathes life into my words on the stage and provides imagery for my words on the page. You are a marvelous person to put up with me. Thank you so very much. And to you, Butch, my baby brother, who keeps me grounded by constantly reminding me of how woefully lacking I am in all things that matter. I love you anyway, though, Butch. And to you, Sylvia, thank you. I can now say that I stood on the stage with Sylvia McNair. 2 times Grammy winner. A woman who sang before the Supreme Court at the invitation of Sandra Day O'Connor. I stood on the stage with her. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? And thanks to the Rotary Clubs of Bloomington for giving me this honor. I am most appreciative of the opportunity to share just a little bit of my life, and thanks to you for making that happen. Now, you've honored me tonight. Now I must recognize and toast the person whose love and support brought me to this point. My kind, generous, and compassionate husband, Gene. See, Gene didn't know when he married me that he was marrying my entire family. Nonetheless, he has provided the emotional and financial support, love, and guidance to both family and fictive kin. He has assisted in raising my brother, a nephew, 2 nieces, an unofficially adopted daughter, a host of homesick IU students, and he's always been there for all of us. So tonight I salute you, Jean. For all that you have done to encourage and to help others fulfill their dreams in life. But most of all, I thank you for giving me the space to be what I wanted to be. So let's raise our glasses to Jean. Thank you. And to my niece, Paula Driver, happy birthday. Thank you for taking time from your special day to be with me on my special day. Happy birthday. Thank you, and thank you, Sylvia.
It is my pleasure. Gladys, you are a goddess. An absolute goddess. Goddess Gladys. I think it's not a coincidence that those two names are so similar. Goddess Gladys. Thank you for inspiring all of us. And thank you all for joining us this evening to honor this outstanding community member. Gladys and I go to the same church. And when we are lucky, she stands in the pulpit on Sunday mornings.
And when we are lucky, she sings to us.
I also remember a performance that Gladys did in October of 2018 at the Shalom Community Center Gala. Her activism to fight homelessness in our community was absolutely spectacular that night, as are so many of your performances. People are rushing the stage right now. Not sure what's happening. That's not in the script, boys. I'm not sure, but I think those are Gladys's 3 sons. Wow. Okay, that's a photo. Right there, there it is.
Right here, right here. Look, right here.
There you are. There you are.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful!
Hey, you ready?
Thank you.
Thank you all for your support of 3 Bloomington Rotary Clubs and LIFEDesigns. We sincerely hope to see you again next year on Friday, November 3, 2023, for the 9th annual Bloomington Rotary Toast. The beautiful centerpieces are available for you to take home and enjoy if you'll leave a monetary donation of $20 or more on the table. And thank you in advance. Now, if all of our past honorees will come to the stage, we'd love to have you welcome Gladys into your elite ranks and get a few photos. After that, Gladys will remain on stage, and she invites all of her many guests to the stage for greetings. Thank you so much, and good night.
Thank you so much. Oh, my darling, you're beautiful.